Uh,
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Ruth. How do you do?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm also doing well. Thank you for
Okay,
asking.
okay. Thank you. My name is Ruth Wanjiku. I'm in Dedan Kimathi in Kenya, currently in third year. My day was good. My weekend was good. Yeah, we started our end of semester exams today, and all is well. I don't have much about reinforcement of the columns. I'm yet to learn more, but I know the links should have small diameters compared to the standing bars. Yeah, that's all. I'm happy to be here today.
Super.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruth, for sharing and also your enthusiasm to learn. And we are happy to have you here and also witness your growth. So thank you so much for sharing, and yeah, have we wish you all the best in your upcoming exams.
Thank you.
All right, so someone else, I'd like to hear from 2 or 3 more people as we wait for more members to join us. And then as soon as we reach 30 participants, we are going to start the session. Dennis?
Yes, Tagatimu, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm okay. I'm doing great. Now, I think majorly the things that I've seen on site and learned along the way is one, it's good to it's good practice. The lapping length, of course, is normally 50D or 40D, or one of them, but I normally go with the maximum, which is 50D. And normally it's good practice to splice the rebars because in case of earthquake or seismic loads, the rebars won't slip. So it kind of like enhances that. It kind of like enhances the integrity of the columns. Another thing that I've come to learn is it is also good practice not to have your lapping lengths in the same zone at the same level. If possible, try and stagger them. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I can add now. The class is having many engineers who can also contribute.
Thank you, Dennis, for sharing. That was pretty educative for all of us. So thank you so much. One more person, and then we are going to start the session. One more person. One more person.
Hello.
Hello, Rashid. How do you do?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm also doing well.
Yeah, good evening to everyone. Hello.
Hello. Good evening,
Yeah,
Rashid.
yeah. So actually, I'm enjoying a lot with this course, and it's going to be end soon, maybe after 2 weeks. And actually, I need the videos which you are showing on the start. So can you give the links for that videos also in a group so we can learn later? Sometime we need to revisit that videos. I cannot find on YouTube also.
Okay. I will be sharing them in the Telegram channel as
Yeah,
well
yeah,
before we start the
yeah.
session.
Yes, okay. Just share there. And
Yeah.
the last session was very tough. I was struggling with many things
Yeah.
like text sizes on different scale. Like if I'm putting scale 1 into 25, the section
Yeah.
size, the text size become different. So
Yeah.
I want to understand that how to change. I mean, how
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Rash. Okay.
yeah,
Please
yeah, yeah,
continue.
yeah. It's okay. Overall, I'm very happy. I'm really very happy, and I want to continue for the civil 3D also. So maybe I will join another session of Revit. If you, I'm not sure when, but I will rejoin again after completing this session.
Super. That's lovely to hear that you are enjoying
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
sessions.
Actually, I think I'm the only one out of Africa. I'm from Pakistan, and I love your community. You people are very nice and very polite and very good. I mean, very ethical people. I never see in our community we are not like that. We are different type of people. I mean, I'm not want to say anything bad about ourselves, but I like your community. You people are really nice. You are really humble, ground to down to earth, and I like that. I really love your community.
Thank you, Rashid, for the kind words. I'm also
Yeah,
happy that you are finding a home away from home, and always feel free to always stay in our communities. We
yeah.
always have some good things to enjoy.
I'm feeling very comfortable with all of you. You are really. I mean, you all the people here are good attention. Everybody want to put something. I mean, put something positive. And which thing is I like most is the politeness of you, all of you. I mean, everybody is not fighting with each other, not blaming each other. Everybody is very polite, and this is really a great thing.
Thank you so much, Rashid. I hope the others are also thankful for your kind words. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Yeah, you can
we
continue.
are also honored to have you in our community.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, you
Super.
can continue.
So I'll try to tackle one of the challenges that you faced
Yeah,
with regards to the tags. I know it's usually a big deal, especially when you're starting off with Revit. I also struggled with it, and I
yeah.
understand why it is important to go over it a couple of times. So we are going to
Yeah,
go over it again today, and
yeah, it's okay.
whenever we are doing something new, we are going to go over it again later in the course. Is that
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Rashid?
Yeah. Take your time. First, finish your the task. Then later
Yeah.
on, you can, tell me. I'm not in hurry. I'm here. Maybe I will continue furthermore. So not a
Uh,
problem. Take your time as per your schedule.
Super. So
So,
thank you, Rashid. I will
well,
proceed.
yeah.
I
Thank you.
I'll start. I hope my screen is visible. Rashid, please confirm. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Your screen is visible. Okay.
Super. So
Okay.
I'll proceed to what I have for you guys, what I had prepared for you. And the first thing that I want us to do is to transfer some of the details that we have already created into the paper space. Okay, so the goal of introducing how to work with the paper space at this moment or at this time of the course is for you to interact with it a lot of times or a couple of times before the training comes to an end. All right, we still have I think we still have 3 more weeks. So by the time you are doing this 3 4 times, you'll have mastered this already. Okay, so that's why we usually introduce this earlier on. So what I want us to do tonight is to produce these details. Okay, I want us to produce a PDF sheet with these details that we've already created and a foundation layout. Okay, and as we produce these details, we are going to be talking about the things that we would like to see on the details, and also probably how they should be arranged so that it can communicate better with the guys on site. All right, so that's what I want us to do first. And then after we have done that, we are going to go into Rebar modeling for columns. Okay, so something I want you to note is that you are not going to have this title block at the moment. we are going to create this title block later on. So we are going to stick with what Revit has by default. And then as the course progresses, we are going to create our own custom title blocks that you can continue to use even for your future, for your future works. Okay, so I will get started. Using the paper space in Revit is really, really easy as compared to other, say, Autodesk softwares such as AutoCAD and Civil 3D, if you've interacted with them. We know how much of a task transferring what you've designed into the paper space can be. All right. So this is how we do this in Revit. So to transfer a sheet into the paper space, the first thing that you're going to do is to create a sheet. Okay. So we are going to open a sheet view. And to do that, you're going to go into your project browser. I hope you can follow my cursor. You're going to go into the project browser, and then you're going to scroll down to sheets. And then once you get to sheets, I want you to right click and then click on new sheet. All right, right click on sheets and then left click on new sheets. And then after you do this, you have the option to create a new sheet. So you can see you are prompted to select a title block, and we are going to stick with what we have here. We have other default title blocks that come with Revit. So you can always go to load as you've been doing. You click on this drop down, you go to libraries, and then you go to English. And then after you go to English, you go to UK as usual. And then when you scroll down, you should have a folder called title blocks. So you can left click on this, and then you're going to have other title blocks as well. So if you want to import any title block from here, you can always import it and have it here. Okay, but for now, we can stick with the A1 metric that we had earlier and then click on OK. But if you want to experiment with the others, please feel free to do so. So after you have created your new sheet, the first thing that I want you to do is to name it. So expand the sheets. You're going to have an unnamed sheet here. Right click on it and go to rename. So the first thing is the number, leave it as default. And then the second one is the name. So you can give it the name that you want. So we are going to be having the foundation layout. So we are going to have the name as the foundation layout, and that will be the name of our sheet. And after you've named it there, you're going to see that it also appears here. Okay, so that's how dynamic Revit is. And then after you do this, the next thing would be to transfer the items that you want to be transferred on paper into the title block. So to do that, you're going to start with the foundation layout at the top of foundation. So this is what you're going to be using for our foundation layout. So you're going to select it, and once you select it, you're going to drag it. So after you drag it, you're just going to move your cursor around and place it. And then after you place it, you can see it has been placed there. All right. So this is the beauty of working with Revit. Any changes you make while here in the paper space is going to be replicated, or it's going to be applied throughout the entire structure, okay, or throughout the entire model. So if you are to, for example, reduce the space between these grids, it would be made throughout the entire structure or in the top of foundation as well. So you can always do this to ensure that your drawings are arranged properly, okay? Or they fit into the paper space, they just fit into the paper space better. And then ensure all your grids have been placed correctly. There are no grids that are colliding, or they're just they are not visible. So just ensure you do this for all your grids to ensure that they are visible. Okay. And then after you do this, you need to clean up your view. You need to clean up your foundation layout. So what I need you to do is go into the paper space as we've done here. So how do you go into the paper space? I forgot to tell you that. So once you've placed your sheet into the paper, all you need to do is place your cursor on the model, or in these within the limits of this title block. You can see it's highlighted in blue. Then after you do that, left click twice. And then after left click twice, you're going to go into the model space. Okay. And then here you can make changes to what is in your model. So for example, at this point, we are going to hide all the unnecessary items. So at this point, we are not interested in seeing any of these, any of these, any of these call outs and plan and the, and the section views. They're making our drawing cluttered, so we do not want to see them. So what do we do? We should select them, right click, and then hide them in view. So you can hide them in view by elements or by category. All right, so you can hide them in view by elements or category, depending on what suits you. So I'm going to hide them by category to save time. And then after I do that, you're going to see that now we have um, a slightly cleaned foundation layout. And then after you do this, just left click, hold the left button of your mouse and move your drawing so that it fits much better. And then after you have this, you are good to go. So then you can select these. Most of the time you're going to be having most of the time you're going to be having the title with line, and also you're going to be showing the crop region. Okay, most of the time you're going to see these square or rectangle here. So we usually don't want to see it. So what we usually do is we select it, and then you go to the properties tab, ensure the viewport is under no title, and also ensure under extents the annotation crop has been unchecked and the crop region has been unchecked. And then just click outside and you are going to have your details there. Zoom in again, ensure they do not go outside the title block. So if you notice that they go outside your title block, just click on the left cursor of your mouse and then just drag them a little bit so that they do not cross there. Okay, so you have that. And then after you do that, you're also going to notice a few things. Sometimes you can see these these elevation symbols, which are unideal. So what I prefer to do, once you see them, don't panic, just go to the top of foundation. You can left click here twice. And then once you are here, I want you to scroll down where right next to where we have the scale. Where we have the scale is 1:75. If you scroll further, we have this show crop region. Okay, just next to the reveal hide elements, we have this symbol here with a bulb icon and some rectangle here. So it's called the show crop region. Left click on it and you're going to see the crop region. So left click on the crop region and then use these circular grips to minimize the crop region. Use these circular grips to minimize the crop region and bring it closer to your model. And then after you do that, if you go to your paper space, you're going to notice that it is no longer visible, or those elevation symbols are no longer visible. All right. So those are some of the common things that you may have to do. Sometimes you're going to notice that the crop region is usually very large. So for some people, you might find that your crop region is really, really large, and it might be a bit of a challenge for you while placing it. So if I was to remove this from my paper space, if I was to remove it from my paper space and then add it, you're going to see that when my crop region is this huge, it is difficult for me to accurately place my details in the paper space. So if yours is big, all you need to do is go to the top of foundation. And once you are here, you're going to go to the same place we were. You go to the hide crop region or show crop region, ensure that it is show. And then once this border appears, left click on it, and then use these circular grips to bring the crop region closer to the model. Okay, you can zoom in a little bit and ensure it comes closer to the project. And that's all you need to do. And then after you do that, you can now go and place it in the section view. But before you do that, there are a few details that you have to provide. It is always important to provide all the dimensions. Please remember these traits are going to be used to actualize the project that you have designed or you have detailed. And if they are not accurately dimensioned, it might lead to errors on sites, which might tend to be expensive. So always ensure that they are detailed, show the distances between each grade, and also show the distance between the farthest or the entire distance. Okay. And then for the combined footings, if there are dimensions that you think are necessary to show, please feel free to show them. All right. And then in the show the layout, show the name of the layout so that whoever is reading it can be able to tell what you are showing them. And it's always, apart from that, it's always good practice to show the scale. So the beauty of working with Revit is that you can always tell the scale. In AutoCAD, you'd probably have to calculate that manually, which might be a bit of a challenge. But here you just read the scale and then you input it here. So to input the scale, you follow the same the same procedure we have used to place this tag here. You go to annotate, you go to text. You can use a smaller text for the scale, and then you just place a scale next to it. So you can say scale is 1:75. And then after you do that, you should be good to go. So let me use a larger one. Okay, I think that will suffice. And then that is good enough. Okay, so after you have that, now you can go back to your layouts, and then here just drag these and place it appropriately, and you should be good to go. So after you've placed it, please left click on it once, go to the properties tab, ensure the viewport is under no title, and in the extents, ensure that the crop region has been unchecked and the annotation crop has been unchecked as well. Then click on apply and OK, and you should be good to go. So that's how we basically transfer that to the paper space. All right, so it's that simple. So for now, for this one, we could just have this one particular detail here. And then we are going to add the other details in another sheet. So we'll repeat the same process. So to add the other details on a sheet, you're going to go to sheets here. Then you're going to right click on sheets and then create a new sheet. So you can select the title block we used earlier or experiment with a new one, and you'll be good to go. So you'll have the new sheet here. So before you place any details, it's always advisable to rename it. So you go to rename. The number is automatic. You don't need to renumber it. But if you wish to have the number shown differently, you are free to do that. And then in the name, provide the name for these sheets. So we can call this RC Foundation details, and then click on OK. And then after you do that, now you bring in the details that you have been creating. So what we usually do is we usually place the section views and the plan views together so that it's easier for everyone reading your drawing. You don't want to place a section view for column 1 in this sheet and then have its plan views in another sheet, because it's going to make the work of the guys who are supposed to be implementing this a bit difficult. So you want to ensure that they can read them together. So whenever you place, for example, a combined footing one section over here, whenever you place a combined footing one section over here, please ensure you place the other one as well. So you can place the other section as well here so that they can be read together. And then after you've placed that one, also place the plan view here so that everyone can be able to read them. Okay. And then after you have placed your details, please select them, go to properties, and ensure the viewport is under no title and the crop region is unchecked. Okay. And then do the same here. Go to crop region and go to extents and check the crop region and the annotation crop, and also ensure that the viewport properties are under no title. And then do the same for this one and select these viewports, change it to no title, and then the crop region and under extents, and check the crop region and the annotation crop. And then after you do that, just place them accordingly and you should be good to go. So at this point, it's important we talk about the scales. So if you select a very a huge scale, say 1:25, 1:20, your details might be very clear, okay? But the caveat to have in that is that you're going to end up using a lot of paper. So you can assume you can think this is an A1 paper. I want you to picture the A1 paper. I know you know how large it is. So having a few details on it is quite not ideal. All right. It's going to lead to a lot of wastage. So as you detail this, as you work with these sections, you need to think about the plan and production stage so that you ensure that your details are also going to fit on the paper space you intend to use. So for example, for these ones, you could increase the scales. For these ones, you could increase the scales. So you could work with probably 1:30 to 1:50, or 1:40 to 1:50. That would work pretty well. But with scales of 1:25, 1:20, your details are not going to fit on these one piece of paper. Okay. So those are some of the things you can do to make your work a bit more orderly. And then the other one that you can do to save on space is to select these levels and then bring them closer to the model. And then by doing that, it ensures that you have bit of a bit of space to work with or to maneuver. So you can do that and then just play around with them and ensure that they have been placed correctly. So do the same for these ones. Do the same for these ones. And then, for example, for this one, if it's too large, you can reduce the scale. See how it fits. You can see now it's a bit, it fits better with the rest, and then you can just place it there. Okay, so you have that, and then you can proceed to do the rest. For example, I can place the combined footing 2 detail over here. And let me do that. I'll place the combined footing 2 here. It's YY section. I think it's large. I'll place it here. And then as you place them, please select them. Go to the properties tab, change the viewport to no title, and under extents and check the crop region. Okay, do the same here. Select these viewports, go to properties and change it to no title, and then under extents, change the crop region to unchecked. And then after you do this, just place them appropriately. You can zoom in to ensure that you are just a bit more economical with space and that you can fit a bit more drawings here. Okay. And then ensure that your drawings are a bit orderly. Ensure that your drawings are orderly so that they are easy to follow through as well. So I just work around with them, find the right fit, as you work, and you should be good to go. Then after you do that, you can look for its plan view. Here it is, and then just drag it. So you can see there it is, and then it's pretty large. You can see it's consuming a lot of space. So for this one, we are just going to select it and then reduce the scale to 1:50, or reduce the scale to 1:50, and then it becomes smaller. And then just drag it there. And then as you reduce the scale, I want you to note something. These texts are usually annotative. So if also the dimensions are usually annotative, that means that the text size is going to alter or is going to change with the scale you choose. So if you tamper with the scale, it's always a good practice to go back to your detail and get to see if you need to make more changes or just make a few edits to make it more legible. For example, for this one, we can left click twice to make the changes here. You don't have to open it to go back to the structural plans to open it there. You can always left click twice in the viewport, left click twice in the viewport to make changes there. Select the tag and then click on move and just place it more appropriately. Also select this one and you can always place it more appropriately. And then after you are after you are satisfied with the changes you have made, you can now click outside twice to move out of the paper space, and then select your viewport, go to properties and change this to no title, and under extents, ensure the crop region visibility is unchecked and also the annotation crop is unchecked. Click on apply and okay, and you should be good to go. So that's how you do that. And then you can proceed now to place the rest. So I'll start with this one. So I'll just place this one here. I'll place that on there, and then I'll place its counterpart just next to it. And then I'll proceed to do footing 2. And then also place its counterpart there. You don't have to do them in the same order as I have done. Please feel free to play around with this, get to see what order works for you or how better you can be able to place them. Please take your time with this. I get to see how you can better place these details. And then after you have all your details, let me change this to no title and also uncheck crop region there. All right, so that's how you do it. Place them better and you should be good to go. So we have the final ones. So we have the final ones here. So let's see if we have enough space for them. We have footing 3. So I'll place footing 3 here. I'll place footing 3 here. And then I'll place its call out or its plan view just below it. Okay, then I'll select both of them, and then I'll change the viewport to no title, and then under extents, I'll ensure crop region is not visible. Then I can just move this one upward so that it fits more appropriately. Okay, so we have that. You can always rearrange them. Get to see what you can do to make these look a bit better and more orderly. Get to see how you can work more efficiently with space. Okay, get to see how you can work more efficiently with space to ensure that your details are, they're good to look at. So you have that, and that's how you can do that. And then if you don't have enough space here, you can always go back to the other sheets. So the foundation layout that we created earlier, you can make more use of this space here. So for example, for the lift core footing, we can just drag some of these members here and just place them here, okay? So we can place these members here, provided you place all of them here, there should be no trouble. This should be good enough. So you can select them and then change the properties to no title and also the extents to that, uncheck both of them and you should be good to go. And then also provide their call out in the same span. Provide their call outs here. Okay, so for this one, I'll reduce the scale to 1:30. Let's see how that plays around. And then I'll just place it more appropriately. And then after you have such a detail, just ensure select this, ensure the viewports are under no title, and then under extents, you uncheck crop region and the annotation crop so that you do not have this boundary that may make your work a bit too crowded. All right. And then after you have that, you have all your details are set out correctly. And then you can proceed to print this. But before we print this, I want you to have a look at my project browser. I want you to take note of this. Revit is always communicating with you. So as we place a section view into the paper space, it becomes highlighted in blue. This is to tell you that this particular view has been placed on the paper space and is ready for printing. So for example, I want you to take note of what happens to the lift core footing once I remove it to the from the paper space. So to remove it, all you need to do is to select it and then click on delete. So that does not delete it from the entire model. It just deletes it from the paper space. So to remove a view from the paper space, you left click on it and then you click on delete. It's going to remove it from the paper space. And then after you do that, I wanted you to take note of this. The icon here becomes grayed out. It loses its blue icon. So whatever is in blue means that it has been placed in the paper space and it is ready for printing. But whatever has been grayed out means that it is yet to be transferred to the paper space. And if you transfer it, it becomes highlighted in blue again. All right. So that's how Revit communicates with you with regards to the views. Okay, so you can always use that as a guide. You can always get to know which view you have left out or which detail you've left out from the from your model. All right, and then after you have all the details, after you have everything you need here, it is now time to print this. So how do you print this? It's again easy. To print this into PDF, you go to File, and then once you go to File, you're going to go to Export. And then after you go to Export, you're going to go to PDF. And then once you go to PDF, you're going to have this pop-up, the PDF export pop-up. So what you're going to do is scroll to selected sheets. So you do not want to export only what is visible in the current window. That's what would happen if you left these at the current window. So what we are more interested in is selecting the selected views stroke sheets so that we can select what we need. Okay, so click on selected view stroke sheets. And then after you do that, scroll to the right, and then you're going to see this pencil. Left click on this pencil icon. And then from here, you can select any view in your project. All right. So all views that are in your project are going to be in this pop-up. And that's why naming them accordingly is important. You can imagine if you had not named them, if you had naming, no defined way of naming them, you can imagine how chaotic that would be. But since we have named them, it is now easier to identify them. So you just scroll, find the name. So we have sheet 1, foundation layout, sheet 2, the RC foundation details. So you left click on uh, this checkbox there, and then this one there. And then whatever has been ticked is going to be printed. You can always have a preview. So to see the preview, you just select the sheet and then you left click on the preview, and you're going to see the preview on your left. If I was to click on the other one, you're going to notice the preview changes to match what is in that particular detail. So after you do that, you can go to now select, left click on select, and then file name. So for this one, I leave it as it is, bulky pouch milestone 5. And then for the location, you can browse to where you want it saved. So if you have a specific browser, you just left click on browse, and then you look for that particular browser or that particular folder. So for now, I'm going to save mine in the desktop. So I'm just going to click on desktop and then click on open. And then for the other settings, don't worry about them. Just select the sheet size that you used, size A1, and then ensure zoom is fit to page. And then in the orientation, have this as landscape. And then in the appearance, have this as high, and then colors, grayscale. That is if you don't want colors. But if you don't Revit to maintain the colors of the rebars as you see, you can choose color. So I don't want to maintain the colors. I'm going to pick a grayscale. And then for the create output, I'm going to stick with vector processing. So for these ones, don't worry much about them. You're going to cover them in depth much later in the course. So at this point, after you have done all these changes, just click on export and then click on yes. You can save it. And then after you do that, just give Revit a moment. Give Revit a moment for it to load. And then you can go to where it has been saved. Let me see. Here it is. Here it is. So you can see that your details have been created and I think they look good. So that's how you print, and that's how easy it is. So that's what you're going to be doing. Whatever we do from now on, we are going to be expecting you to at least export the paper space in preparation for, for the final stages of the course. All right, so unless there's anyone with regards to that, I'd like to proceed to the next part. Is there anyone with a question with regards to that?
Yes, engineer, good evening.
Good evening.
I missed the part where you exported, like how you go to that export window. I missed it. How you exported to PDF.
All right, you just go to File and then Export, here it is, and then PDF.
Oh, okay, I've seen it. Thank you.
Super.
I've
So,
understood.
you're welcome. So, we are going to proceed to the next part. And in the next part, we are going to introduce you to modeling rebars for the columns. We're going to do 2 columns from the PDF details that we shared with you. And then after we do that, we are going to share videos with you on how you can do the rest, and you're going to do that as part of your milestone for today. So we're going to focus on doing column 1 and column 2, and then you're going to do column 3 and 4 with the help of the short videos that we're going to share with you. All right, so let's get started. So we are going to go to Revit, and then once we get to Revit, we are going to go to the top of, you can do this in any plan. So we can choose to do this in the ground floor. So I'm going to open the ground floor. And then once I'm here, I want to start with creating a section view. So what you're going to notice by now is that anytime you want to model rebar in Revit, you always have to start from a plan view. Okay, you have to start from a section view. All right. So that's what I want you to note. Anytime you need to model rebar in Revit, you are definitely going to start in a section view. So to do that, we are going to go to view. And then once we get here, we click on section. And then after that, we click on this drop down and ensure we are working with one of the sections. So it could be the cross section or the footing sections you have been working with before. So you can select any of them. And then after I do that, you now create a type for the new member. So the reason we are creating a type is that we can make our work more orderly. I hope you now have some experience with exporting uh, details to the paper space in Revit, and at least you can appreciate why we need to have all these items under different categories so that it's possible for us to be able to differentiate them, thus making our work a bit easier. So we are going to create a new category for the columns. You go to section, and then you click on edit type and duplicate this section. Then you're going to rename these columns. Then just click on OK. And then OK. And then after that, you're good to go. So after you do this, you're going to place your section view. And this is how I want you to place your section view. Place it along the direction or along the shortest span of your column. Okay, so place it along the shortest direction of your column and you should be good to go. So you can have that there. You can extend it if you want, or you can leave it as it is. So I think that's good enough for me, or let me just extend it a little bit. So we have that. So we have that at this point. Okay, and then after you have placed your section view, now go to the project browser, expand it, and then rename it. So rename it after the cross-section that you're detailing. So we can call this column 1, 200 by 500 mm, and then click outside. And then after you do that, just left click twice to open it. And then after you do this, for section views or for elevation views, we always use a scale of 1:50. But then if it doesn't surface, you can use a smaller scale than that. But for most of the time, we always use a scale of 1:50. So after you do this, you can now clean this up as you have done before. So let's extend this a little bit and then zoom in, hide all the unnecessary items, hide all the unnecessary items by using the hide in view elements. And then after you have this, you go to the annotate tab and then use the components. So once you have the components, place it appropriately. So we can choose to place it there. And let me have that and then have that. So let me shift to hidden line and we are good. So we have that. Then I will select this particular, component or detail item and copy it to the other levels to make my work a bit easier. So I'll do that. I'll copy them to the other levels. And we are good to go. So that is the first aid when it comes to Rebar modeling for the columns. Okay, so that's the first thing that I will need you to do. And then as you do this, to make your work easier, I'd recommend you ensure that the foundation that the column you're modeling your Rebar on does not contain the foundation details that you created. So because if you do that in the foundation that contains your Rebar details, these column rebars are going to be visible there. So if you don't want them visible there, don't use that particular footing. All right. But if you don't mind having them there, you can be able to have them there. So after you have that, so after you have cleaned up and you're sure you want to model your rebar here, I'm now going to introduce you to another view. And this view is called the detail views. And this is the view that we use for the smaller details in Revit. So to access this view, you go to the view tab, you click on section, and then you click on this drop down. And then once you scroll up, you're going to see the detail view over here. So I want you to left click on detail view, and then you're going to create a detail view across the column. So what this detail view is going to do, it is going to create a cross-section view for our column. All right. So that's what this detail view does. It's going to create a cross-section view for our column. And the reason we use the detail view over the section view is that it allows us to see finer details as compared to the section view. So after you have placed this, sorry, I forgot one thing. I'll delete this. As you to place the detail view, you go to section, you click on the drop down, you select the detail view. And as you have been doing for the other views as well, you need to create a type for the columns. So you go to edit type, you duplicate, and you create a type. So for this one, we are going to call it column, say column cross section. So you can give it a name XX just to denote that this is a cross section, and then click on OK. And then after you do that, just place it across the column and click outside. And then after you do that, just go to the project browser and expand it. You can see the column detail view there. So right click on this and rename it. So you can call it column 1, cross section 1. So column 1, XX to denote that's a cross section, and then 1 to denote that it's the first cross section pertaining to this column. We are giving it a 1 because you can create multiple cross sections. You can create one for each level. So you might end up with having probably 3 or 4 cross sections column. All right. And then after you have named it, left click on it twice to open it. And then after you do that, for the detail views, the standard methods of detailing recommends we use a scale of 1:25 or 1:20. So we are going to use a scale of 1:25. And then you can zoom in and now do more cleaning. So at this point, just select these views and hide them in view. Okay. Select all items that you do not need, like the views and the grids, and hide them in view. All right. And then after you have cleaned up drawing, such as that one, it is now time to model the rebar. So to model the rebar, the first thing that you're going to do you're going to follow the same procedure that we followed while modeling rebar for the foundations. The first thing that you're always going to do while modeling rebar in Revit is to provide cover. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to structure, and then once you get to structure, you're going to go cover. And then once you get to cover, you're going to click on your column, and then you can select the cover you created for your columns. So if at this point you're ready to create a cover for your columns, the first thing that you do after you click on cover is click on these 3 dots. So click on these 3 dots, and then from here, you can add a new cover. So click on add, and then have this as columns. So after you have that as columns, for the setting of the thickness, we can have a thickness of 30 or 35, and that would suffice for us. So I'm going to leave it at 30, and then we are going to continue. So something I'd like to mention at this point is that for these other covers that you are no longer using, the ones that come with Revit by default, you can always delete them. So you can right click on one and then delete. Okay, so you just left click on one, sorry, and then you delete. Left click and then you delete, and you can delete as many as you want. Okay, so you just left click and delete. So you left click on one and you delete it, you left click on one and you delete it. And the reason I am telling you you can delete them is because once you place your cover and then you go to these cover settings here, you don't have to scroll down to find a particular cover that you want to use. I think it makes your work a bit more difficult. So if you no longer need any of these particular covers, you can always delete them from these 3 dots here. So I'm just going to add a new cover here. Let me call it columns. And then we are going to proceed. So you click on OK, and then click on your column, go to this drop down and select columns. And your cover is going to be applied. All right, and then after your cover has been applied, we can now proceed. To model the rebar. So to do that, you go to rebar, and then we are going to ensure that first we are going to start with the links. We're going to start with the shear links or the star-ups. So we are going to ensure that the placement orientation is first parallel to work plane. So to place the star-ups for the columns and for the beams, please ensure the placement orientation is parallel to work plane. And then select a suitable shape. So shape number 52, it is. And then after you select shape number 52, please ensure you are working with a smaller diameter of the bar. So you're going to be working with a diameter of T8. So we only have H8 at this point. So you're going to select H8. You go to edit type, you duplicate it, and then you name it T8. And then after you've renamed it, you click on OK and OK. I hope you remember what we do here. We never change any parameters regarding any of the bars. We only duplicate the family and change the type name. Okay. Remember, we only duplicate. The only change we make here is changing the name after we duplicate it. And then after you have the denotation you need, you just click on OK and you proceed. So the next thing will be partition. Ensure you provide the correct partition. The partition will come in handy once we get to creating schedules. Remember, one of the reasons that we use Revit is so that we can make the tasks that follow detailing a bit easier. So instead of you having to go back and use your Excel sheets, having to go and calculate the quantities manually, you can use Revit for all of that. And for those reports to be accurate, you need to feed Revit uh, with the right piece of information. So some of the information or some of the things you have to tell Revit is one, where these rebars are going to be hosted. And that's what we do when we fill in the partition. So for this one, the partition will be columns. So we partition these as columns, and then for the startup shape, you're going to leave it as it is. So you're going to be using the startup shape 135 degrees. I think that's what is recommended. And then in the okay, please ensure you're muted. Okay, so okay, I lost my train of thought. Just a moment. Okay, so we ensure that the hook at start is the 135 degrees, and the hook at the end is also 135 degrees for the startups. And then for the rebar set, you're going to use a maximum, the lateral maximum spacing, and you're going to use a spacing of 200 mm. So for the placing of startups, the maximum distance at which you can place the startups is going to be constrained by your minimum dimension. So the smaller your dimension is, also the maximum spacing of your rebars is going to be constrained. So the British standards are the BS code BS 8110 does not allow you to place to place the startups at a distance greater than the minimum length or the minimum dimension of your column. So for example, for this for these for these for this particular column here, the maximum distance center to center we can have between our startups or our links is going to be 200 mm. All right. So that's going to be the maximum distance that you're going to have uh, between our our startups. But in case as you design your structure, you end up requiring a lesser spacing, say 175, 150, you can always do that. And you do that by changing the rebar set and changing the spacing to 200 mm or to the distance that you need. And then in the comments, enter these as links. So you can enter these as links or startups, whatever works for you. So you can enter it there. And then after you do that, all you need to do is place it. And then after you've placed it, once you go to the section view, you can be able to see that they have been placed and they have been placed along the entire column here. And then after you have that, it's now important to ensure we are now going to proceed to the next part and model the longitudinal bars. So I'll have a look at what the bars are. So for this one, I'm using a diameter at T12s. So I'm going to go to Revit. I'm going to go to Rebar, and then I'm going to select. So for the longitudinal bars, we are going to be using perpendicular to cover. So you click on perpendicular to cover. You select the straight bar. So shape 0001, either of them is going to work just fine. And then after you do that, change the bar diameter to T12, and then ensure the partition is columns. And then in the rebar set now, here you have to change it. We change it to fixed number. So we're going to change it to a fixed number of 3. As seen, we have 6 bars in this column. So this side will have 3 bars and this side will have 3 bars. So we are going to model this bar here. We're going to model the first set there and then click on escape. And the reason we are modeling one set of bars first is because we need to make changes to these sets, to these bars, so that we can have the detail that that suits us, okay, or that suits our needs. So instead of us modeling both bars and making changes to both of them, we just model one, make changes to that one particular set. And then after you've made changes to that set, you just mirror it to the other direction. So to do that, after you've placed them, what you're going to do is go to the section view and make the changes here. So what you're going to do is select this rebar and go to edit sketch. So at this point, you're going to select this particular line and just drag it into your footing. Okay? Drag it into your footing to ensure that you have sufficient length for anchorage, and then have a hook as well. So the minimum distance should cover at least two transverse bars. So whatever your spacing is, you should ensure that this length of this you should ensure that this hook here covers at least or crosses at least two at least two at least two transverse bars. Okay. The standard methods of detailing also recommend a distance of 450. So you can see it's in that distance, or it's near that distance. So that's no worry for us. But in case your transverse bars are spaced at a shorter direction, at a shorter span. So say you have 150 center to center, it means you'd have to ensure that this here is also at least 450 mm. Then after you have that, bring this down, to that level there, bring it down. And then what we want to ensure is that we have enough length for lapping. So to ensure that we have an accurate length for lapping, what we are going to do is we're going to use the measure tool, left click on measure, click on this top part of the slab, and then on the top part of this line, and then click outside. Press escape, select this line, and then once you select this line, zoom in into your dimension, left click on the value, enter 600, and then press enter. So if you are wondering where we got this value of 600, during the interactive session, I hope you listened to what Daniel told us. So for the lapping, it is advisable to use a lapping of 40 to 50 times the size of the diameter. So if you are working with a diameter of say 12 millimeters, it means that this lapping length should be at least 600 mm. So you do 12 times 15, you get 600. If it's 16 if it's a 16 millimeter bar diameter, you use 16 times 50, you should get something in the region of 800 mm and so on. So if it's 20, you just multiply by 50 and get something around 1,000 millimeters. Then after you have that, just click on finish. You're going to get this warning telling you that the dimension is going to disappear. So that's okay. We no longer need it. Just click on close and proceed. So after you have this, select this bar here. Go to mirror and mirror it above the center of the collar. And now you have this bar here. So that's the reason why we were only modeling the bars on one end instead of both of them. So that instead of us having to do this manually on both ends, we can just do it on one end and then mirror that bar, save on time or to save on energy. And then after you have this bar, you can now do this more easily. You just select it. Just select one set. Okay, select one set. Go to copy, and then copy it from this point here to this other point here. Just one of them. Let me repeat how I copied it. You select this bar here, one of them. Then you left click on copy, and you can choose any base point. So I'm selecting this intersection and copy them to this other intersection. And then after you do that, you can now make changes to this as we did to the other one. So you select this bar, you go to edit sketch. So at this point, we no longer need the hook. So we are going to select these. I'm going to select this bar here. I'm going to select this bar here and drag it to this point here. All right. And then after I do that, I'm now going to draw the other part of the bar that denotes my lapping. So I'm going to do that there and join it there. Okay. And then after I have this part here, the next part would be here. So at this point here, all I need to do is to ensure that this bar elongates past the first floor or this level by 600 mm. So to do that, I'll just select this dimension line, select the top level of the slab, and then the top level of this line, and then just click outside. And then after I do that, select your line, go to your dimension symbol, or where you have this dimension value, left click on it, and then enter the value you need. If you're not sure about the value, you can always enter an expression. You can enter the equal sign and then type the formula 50 times. You know the size of your diameter, 12, and then press enter, and Drive it will do the rest for you. Then after you have that, just click on finish and you are good to go. So you have that one rebar there. So after you have this one, you can just mirror it, or you should just mirror it by the center of the column to make your work easier. And then after you have these two sets, now it becomes easier to proceed to the other levels. All you need to do is select one, left click on one, and then left click on the other one. Press Control and left click on the other one. So to select both of them, you left click on one, and then you press Control and left click on the other one. And then after you do that, you left click on copy and copy them by this base point. So where the column intersects with the floor. So I'll copy them by there, and then I'll copy them to the other floors. Okay. So you can copy them to the other floors, making your work a bit easier. So you can do that for this particular column and you should be good to go. So, and then once you get to the top level, just delete one of these bars, select this one, go to edit sketch, and break this downward to ensure it does not go beyond the slab, and then click on finish. And then at this point, select it and mirror it by the center of the column, and you're good to go. So in just a moment, you have modeled all the rebar for this entire column. And then after you do that, you can now copy these stirrups to the other levels as well. So to do that, you select this stirrup. Okay, it's going to select the entire set. If you select one of them, it's going to select the entire step, the entire set. You can drag them to ensure they fit right through, and you should be good to go. So you can select, you should select the entire set. And then to make your work easier, first go to presentation and show first and last. So you just select the set, you go to presentation, and you click on this bottom right option over here to show the first and last. Then after you do this, just select the sets and then copy them to the other levels. So this is going to make your work a bit easier. This is going to make your work a bit easier. So you continue copying them to the other levels, and then you're good to go. So that's how you can easily model those rebars. And then you can also copy them from this level here to go downwards. Then after you copy them to go downwards, select this one and then drag it to go below the ground level, because that's where it should be. Okay, so that's how you model those particular bars. And then once it comes to annotation, it becomes even easier for you, because now to annotate this, all you need to do is go to annotate for the tag by category, for example, and show these particular rebars, and you should be good to go. Then for some weird reason, Revit does not calculate all these rebars as one. So it calculates them side by side. It's going to tell you that on the left you have 3 T12s, and then on the right you have 3 T12s as well. So if this is not a detail you'd like, there's a workaround around that. It's a bit manual, but there's a workaround around that. So if you are more used to the AutoCAD way where you show 6 to 12 bars in total, what you do is you go to annotate, okay? Then once you go to annotate, you go to text, and then you can use the text with an arrow. And then as you do this, you can just select these. You can draw an arrow there to one of the rebars and then enter your text. So you can say 6 to 12 and then enter the schedule mark. If that's how you'd like to show them, that's how you do. And then after you've done this, go to the detail line and then use the circle to show that this detail here refers to both this bar here and this one there. And then if this is the type of detail that you prefer, then this is what you'd have to do. Okay, so that's what you'd have to do to achieve that that type of detail. Yeah, so that's how you do it. So I'm going to delete that. And then for the startups, this is how I'd like you to annotate them. You go to annotate. We use the multi-rebar tag, and then you click, or you just click on one of the tag, on one of the uh, how do you call them? On one of the startups, and then you drag it outwards, and you place them. And then you select this particular tag, select tag. I know you're now quite familiar with this. Most of you are doing a really good job with this. So you can now place it there. And then it will communicate clearly that between this level and this level, we have 16 TH startups at 200 center to center. So you can imagine if you had to calculate this for the entire structure, it would be a bit of a task. But with this, at least it took time to create these. It took time to create these tag, but at least with the tag now, it becomes a bit, it becomes a bit more. It becomes a bit more automated. All right. So that's the beauty of creating these tags properly. All right, so we have that, and now we can proceed to the other part. So what I want you to do, the next thing that I have missed out is to show the kicker. It's always good to show the kicker. So to show the kicker, we are going to use the annotate crop. We are going to use the field region over here. So we're going to have a kicker of 75 depth. So to show the kicker, what you're going to do is you're going to go to region, and then we can use a different hatch. So I'm going to use, which one do I use? I'm going to use this one. And then I'm going to enter kicker that is 75 mm, that has a depth of 75 millimeters, and then draw it in such a manner. And then after I do that, you click on finish, and you should have your kicker there. So if you were to change this to shaded, okay, so that did not come. So I'll select this, go to edit type. Let me change the hatching to that, and then okay, so I just change that to Grandstand, click on apply, and okay. And you can now see that it appears. If you'd like to have this as solid, you just go to edit type, you go to this part here, click on this drop down, and then have a solid fill here. So you can use a gray color, and then click on OK, or any color of your choice, and click on OK. So you're spoiled for choice. Whatever choice you make here would be good enough. But as you do this, I think it's good to ensure that this tag here, or this link here is not is visible as well. So you can just move it away and then place it there. Okay, so it's important to show the kicker. So I'll just make changes to these links. I'll make changes to these links. Just a few of them to demonstrate. Just a few of them to demonstrate that you can have the kicker there. So let me do the final one here, and then we can have that particular detail there. So we have, after you've created one kicker, you can copy it to the other levels. So you just select it and then copy it to the other levels. Okay. You copy it to the other levels as easily as that, and you now have the column kicker in all your column details. And it's relatively that easy to do. So you have that, and that is easy to do. So the next thing would be to annotate this. So you go to annotate, use text, use the arrow with one segment, and then you can just enter your detail there. So you could call it the 75 mm kicker, and you're good to go. So reduce this to 1.5, and you should have a detail that you can work with. Okay, so that's how you can easily do that. All right. So we have now modeled Rebar for this particular column. We have annotated it, and we have also created the kicker for it. So what I'd like us to do is to annotate the cross section so that you can have it as part of your milestone as well. So to annotate this cross section, it's going to bring us to a new detail that we have not worked with. So we are going to have to create a new tag for this. And the tag that you're going to be creating is only going to be showing us the bar mark only. Okay, so that's our only interest. We want to create a tag that shows us the bar mark only. We don't want to have a very big detail in such a small detail. So we only want to show a tag that shows the bar mark or the Rebar number only. So how do we do that? We play around with the tag that we play around with the tag that we created earlier. So first we're going to create a tag. So you're going to go to tag. Okay, you're going to play around with the family. So you go to tag by category, and you place a tag there. And then after you place this tag here, select it, and then go to edit family. And then once you are here, this is a tricky bit. So I don't want you to make any changes to the tag that we had created earlier. It might mess us up a bit. So what I want you to do is go to File. And then once you go to File, I want you to save as, and then save it as a family. So we are going to save these as, let's call it the column and beam cross-section tag. Okay, let's call it the column and beam cross-section tags. And then click on save. All right. And then after you do that, I'm just going to delete some of these items here. I'm going to delete like most of them and ensure I only remain with one. And then after I do that, I'm going to select it. I'm going to go to edit label, and then I'm going to remove everything bar the Rebar number. So I'm going to remove everything bar the Rebar number. All right, so remove everything by the Rebar number. Also, ensure you delete that prefix, click on apply and OK. And then after you do that, just load it into the project and close. You're going to be prompted to save the file, so save it. And then go to your section view, select your tag, go to edit type, duplicate it first. So let's call this column. Let's give it the same name, column then beam, column and beam, cross section, and cross sections tag, then click on OK. And then scroll down to the type. So here we have created the type here. So we want to select the family we created. So click on this drop down and then select the column and beam cross-section tag there. So you can see they match and you're good. So after you do that, now ensure the arrowhead has a field is filled. So you can use any degree. Don't use the large one. Use any other degree, but not the field one. All right, so we have that. So you're going to notice some of the tags here are empty. So what you want to do is click on this drop down and then play around until you get the tag you need. So play around, select them. Remember we deleted some and that's why they appear as empty. But as you scroll around, you're going to notice as you scroll around the column and beam cross-section tag that we created, you're going to notice you're going to find one that has the bar mark only. All right. And then after you do this, I ensure that you go to edit type, ensure the arrowhead is visible. So change the arrowhead to say 15 or any angle of your choice, and you're good to go. And then you can change the orientation of this text. So change it to I can change the angle to 0, or I can change the orientation to horizontal. That would be good enough for me. And then I will bring it closer to there. I'll do the same here. I'll select this, and then to create, I can copy it for one. I can copy it for one. Okay. I can copy it for one and have it there. But if my main interest is in creating a similar one, I can save time by selecting this tag and type in CS. Remember, CS is a shortcut for create similar. You can select one tag and then type CS. So CS is a shortcut for create similar. And then after you create it, just ensure you change the angle back to 0 so that you have this tag there and you should be good to go. So you create similar, and then let me change the orientation to horizontal, and then the angle I can have is 90. Should achieve the same orientation. Sorry. Okay, I should have that and I am good to go. All right. And then I create similar, and now annotate the link as well. Then select this, change the orientation to vertical and change the angle to 0, and you are good to go. So we have that particular detail over there. And then after you have this, use the aligned dimension to add a tag over here. Okay. So tag them appropriately and you should be good to go. So that's how you annotate a column cross-section or a beam cross-section as well in Revit. All right, so that's how you do it. And now you're good to go. So I'm going to go to the next column so that we can repeat the entire process to reinforce what we have learned. Okay, so I'm going to be closing some of these. I'm going to be closing some of these views. Then I'm going to proceed. Okay, just a moment. I'm going to go to the ground floor. So we said to annotate a column, you can do it in any view. So for me, I prefer to go to the ground floor. You can do it in the top of foundation, but for now, I'll just use the ground floor. And then after that, I'm going to model Rebar for my column. So I'm interested in modeling Rebar for the column too. So I'll choose one of them. So let me select which one. So I'll choose this one. So this is one of the column twos. And then I'll place a view, section view. And then at this point, remember you've already created a detail view. So it's important for you to take note that the properties shows you the detail view. So click on this drop down, ensure you select the column section that you had earlier. And then as you place this section, please ensure you place it along or parallel to the shortest span of your column. All right. Please ensure you place it along the shortest span of your column. And then after you do that, just right click on it. Sorry, before you right click, go to the project browser, scroll for section columns, and then right click to rename it. So let's call this column 2, 300 by 500 right? Then after you have that, just open it and you should be good to go. So let's start with cleaning it up. So we have a 1:50, and then we can clean this up. All right, so let's clean this up. So I'm going to hide the members that we do not need, like the unnecessary grades, etc. So I'm going to hide them here. Right, select one, and then hide in view. And then you select one of these section views, and then you hide them in view. Okay, so hide everything in view that you do not need. Hide all the items that you do not need in view, and I should be to go. Okay, so let me continue hiding them in view. Okay, and then I can minimize this to make my work a bit easier. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I'll also hide this grid in view. All right, and then I do not want to see these return legs, so I'll go to my ground level, select my section view and reduce its depth. And then with that, I now have a clean detail. So after I have this, I will start with what we did earlier. So I know for now you know how to use the components. I do not have to go over that. So you need to place the components to ensure that you show these columns, these beams are continuous, and you're only showing this part of them. All right, so that's something you'll have to do. Then after you've placed all the components that you need, you're now going to model the rebar. So to model the rebar, we said after you've created your section for the columns, you're going to need to create a cross section. So to create a cross section, you go to view, and then once you get to view, you click on section. Okay, and then after you click on section, you're going to click on this drop down and select the detail view. So by default, you're now going to have this column cross-section detail over here. You're going to only have the detail cross-section over here. So you're going to select the detail section here and then duplicate it and rename it under a suitable name. So I chose column section, and that's what I'm going to work with. And then after you do that, just place it at a point there and then proceed. So after you do that, you're going to go to the detail view, column cross sections, and you're going to have your detail view there. So right click to rename it. So I could call it column 2 XX, and then I could choose to work with one or not. So I'll have that there and then open it. For the section views, we always work with a scale of 1:20 or 1:25. So I prefer to work with 1:25. And then after I have my scale set, I'm going to edit these. So I'm going to select all the items that I do not need, and then right click to hide in view by elements. Okay, that is step number 1. Then after you've cleaned up your view, the next step will be to add a cover. So you go to structure, you click on cover and select your column. And then after you do this, click on this drop down. Remember you had created a cover previously. So you select your column cover and have it there. And then after you do that, now go to Rebar. And then let's place our links. So we are going to start with the first link. So shape number 52 is more suitable. And then remember, while placing the star-ups of the links, please ensure the placement orientation is parallel to work plane. So you select parallel to work plane, all right? And then in the construction, change the bar diameter to what is suitable, T8. And then the partition, ensure its columns. The hook at start, ensure it's a seismic 135 degree, the same as the hook at end. And then in the layout rule, change this to maximum spacing. And then you're going to use a maximum spacing of 200 mm. All right. And then after I do that, I'm going to change the comments to links. And then after that, I'll just place my link there. Okay. So that's how you place them. And then if you look at this particular detail here, it's a bit unique. It's a bit different to what we had earlier. So for this one, we have how many bars do we have? Let me see. So we have 10 T20s. So we have 5 T20s on the left and 5 T20s on the right. So to do that, you're going to go to model the longitudinal bars. I want to start with the longitudinal bars so that they can help guide me on where to place this other startup. Okay, so I'll start with the longitudinal bar and then I'll model the second startup. So I'll go to Rebar, okay? And then after I go to Rebar, I'll go to perpendicular to cover. Remember for the longitudinal bars, for the columns and bees, you're going to be using a perpendicular to cover. And then for the startups, you're always going to be working with parallel to work plane. And then after you choose perpendicular to cover for the longitudinal bars, you're going to select the suitable shape. So let's work with shape 00 or 01. Either of them is fine. And then change the bar size. So we want to work with T20 or D20. So I'm going to select H20, go to edit type, duplicate it, and call it T20. Then after you do that, click on OK and click on OK here. And then ensure the partition is columns. And then in the Rebar set, ensure that the layout rule is fixed number. And for the quantity, let's have 5. All right. For the longitudinal bars for the columns, we do not need comments, so we'll just proceed to place this. Okay, so we have that there. And then after we have placed these single sets, what you're going to do is you're going to proceed and make changes here so that we can mirror them and make our work a bit easy. So to make those changes, we are going to select this longitudinal bar over here, go to edit sketch, and then after you go to edit sketch, select this line and drag it downwards. All right, so you drag it downwards. And then at this part here, ensure that it's processed at least to at least two transverse bars, or ensure that the minimum distance is 450 mm. Okay, and then at this point here above the ground level, it is important to ensure that you have sufficient length for lapping. So what we do is we select this line, drag it downwards. Okay, you drag it downwards. And then after you drag it downwards, to ensure that you are accurate, we use the aligned dimension. So you select the aligned dimension, you click on the top of the slab, and then you zoom in and ensure you click on top of this line. And then after you do that, you just click outside. Okay. And then after you do that, you left click on this particular line. Then you zoom in and left click on this dimension value here, or value of the dimension. And then you're going to have the option to enter the value you want. So after you do that, if you are not sure about the distance you want, you can use an expression, say enter the equal sign, 50, and then the asterisk to multiply, and then times the diameter of the bar, and press enter. And then after you do that, select this dimension. You don't need to select the dimension. Just click on finish, and you are good to go. So you have your bar there. Then you can select it and mirror it about the center of the column, and you should be good to go, right? And then after you do that, just select your bar, go to copy, and copy it upwards, and then select it. Okay, edit sketch, delete this hook, delete this hook, and then move it upwards. And then for this one, ensure you provide sufficient space. It's a bit large, so you place it there. Okay, and then after you do that, just join them. And then before you finish, do the same at the top. Ensure there is sufficient length for lapping. So you enter the dimension, select the line, and then enter your desired dimension. So 1,000, since you are using a 20 millimeter bar diameter, and then click on finish. So you have that. And then after you have that, select your bar, go to, where is this? Go to mirror, and then mirror it about the center, and then you have your bar there. And then from here, I hope you can remember now it becomes easier. You select both sets, and then you copy them. I prefer to use this intersection between the column and the floor as my base point, and then copy them to the other floors, okay? So this will make your work a bit easier. So this will make your work a bit easier. So you can have that there, okay? And then you can delete one of them, select this one, go to edit sketch, bring it downwards, okay? Bring it downwards, and then click on finish. And then after you have that, select the by itself, and then mirror it by the center, and you should be good to go. So you've now modeled all the longitudinal bars, all right? And then for this instance, to make our work a bit easier, instead of us copying the startups first and then creating the kicker, I want us to start with creating the kicker so that it becomes easier to even know where these startups will span. So to create the kicker, we go to annotate, we use the region over here, and then we just place it. So from here, you go upwards by 75 mm. So we want a kicker with a depth of 75 millimeters. Then go to this other column boundary and then join them. Then after you do that, click on finish and you're good to go. And then after this, you can now, place them better and even extend them upwards and you're good to go. And then at this point, to make your work just a bit easier, select these startups, change the presentation to first and last. And then after you do that, select the startup and then select your kicker and then click on copy and copy both of them together. Just to save time. Just to save you a bit of time, you can do that. Okay, just to save you a bit of time, you can do that. Okay, and now you have these models at all areas in your column. And then again, to annotate, this is going to be easy. You need to annotate this through the entire column, but I'll just show you a few to save on time. So for example, to annotate the what do we call this? The links, you use the multi-rebar tag. So you select it and then select one of the rebars and then you just place your tag there. Okay, then you can select your tag, uncheck the leader line and place it more appropriately. Okay, and then you can proceed to create the others. So you just place them, select the tag, and then you proceed. It's relatively that simple to do. Okay, so you do that, and then you proceed to do the others. All right, so I don't think I need to do all of them. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So I'll just proceed to finish these off. Okay. So I'll proceed to finish these off, and then we are good to go. Yeah, so do this for all of them, and do them there. Okay. So the place that might be a little bit tricky to do is here because there's no sufficient space for your tag to fit. So what you can do after you have copied these, after you've copied these star ups to this level here, what you can do is you can select them. Okay. After you have copied them here, what you can do is you can go to annotate the multi-Rebar tag and then place your tag there. Okay, and then after you place your tag, select it, select the tag, and then change the orientation to horizontal. And then after you do that, you can now, play around with it. You can now play around with it, and then okay, you can play around with it, and then have something that that makes sense there. So that's how you can. That's how I'd approach this section there. All right. So again, with that, I think that's now easy to do. And then for the longitudinal bars, you can select this. If it's not using the right family, just select this tag, click on the drop down, and then use the footing multi-Rebar tag that we were using before. Let me see. Yeah, so you can use that one, and you're good to go. So I don't remember which one Daniel was using, but Paul was using. But just look for what you have. Look for what you have, and then see how you can use it properly. Okay, and then ensure you now label this along the entire column. All right, so that's how you do it, and that's how simple that is. And then for the cross section, you're going to notice at times, I'm happy this came up. So you're going to notice at times you're going to see two sets of bars. And the reason you are seeing this is because we've placed this particular section view at the region where we have this particular lapping. Okay. So if you don't want to have this type of view, what you need to do is select your detail view and just drag it upwards. And then if you go to your view, it's going now to disappear. And then at this point, set tag it. Okay, tag it, and then I know by now at least you know how to. Sorry, I know you know how to change the orientation of this. So you select the tag and change the orientation to 0, the angle to 0, and then you can copy it from this level here to this level there. All right, and then you can use the same tag to tag these items as well. All right, so that's how we approach this and ensure you tag everything as it should. Okay, so let me do this. Select this to 0. Oh, okay. I forgot one detail here. I forgot to add this star up here. But again, this is easy. So what you do here, to create a second star up, the detail that you can see here. This is how you do it. You go to structures and then rebar, and then you go to ensure that the placement orientation is parallel to workplane, and then you select the shape number 52, and then and then you change the bar diameter to T8 as we did earlier. All right. And then for the number, change it to fixed to maximum spacing, and the spacing is 200 mm as well. And then after you do that, uh, if you try to place it as we placed the other one, it's going to be placed along the entire cross section. So what we do is we use the by 2 points. So you click on by 2 points, and then you select this particular point just next to that rebar, and then uh, there. Okay, and then you can drag these a little bit forward or a little bit backwards, depending on your needs. And then you're going to be having that link there. And then as usual, please ensure that this link has also been partitioned correctly and has the correct how do I call this? I keep on forgetting. It has the correct comments. Okay, so with that, I'd like to end my presentation at this point, and then I'm going to open the floor for questions. Right, so if you have a question, please feel free to unmute and raise it.
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is on how do you, on the link, how do you rotate, how do you do it so that it becomes staggered, so that where the hooks are, they become staggered. They don't be at the same point. If
You
one is
cannot
at the
do
top,
that.
the other.
You cannot do that. You'd have to issue that in your comments or in your notes.
Okay.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Joseph. How do you do?
I'm okay, and you?
I'm also doing well.
Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. Please, I have a couple of questions I want to ask.
Yes.
So,
It's good.
yeah. So the first question I have, so when we detailed placed our rebars for the columns, so most of the columns have a similar cross section from the foundation to the roof level. So, but what if the column now, let's say from the foundation is 200 by 600, then maybe
Yes.
from the fourth floor we now have 200 by 450. So how are we going to approach that kind of scenario?
Okay. So you'd approach it in the same way. I'd like to think you'd approach it the same way. So I'll just make a scenario here. Okay. I'll just make a scenario here. I'll delete this. And then I'll change these to, let me see if I have a column section here. Okay, I'll use 200 by 500 since that's what I have. Okay. And then at this point, what you'd have to do is you'd have to make sure that your bars here move inwards. So for example, at this point here, you'd have to, sorry. Okay, so at this point here, you'd have to create another section, another detail view, and place it at such a point, probably. Okay. And then after you place it, go to the view. And then at this point, you're going to see that these bars have been messed up. Okay. Then at this point, you can now move these bars. So you can move them from this point there to this point here. Okay, and then it would appear differently in your section view, sorry. Why is that? Okay, you can see how it appears. So it doesn't appear really, really well because of this shape here. So it means you would have to have different bars. Sorry. Let me undo that. It means that we would have to curtail these bars somewhere. We'd have to have some sort of, let me do that in detail. We'd have to have some sort of, yeah, we'd have to do something of this sort at this point. And then after it has been cranked in some way, I don't want to use the word crank, but after you have cranked it in some sort of way, then you'd continue to create the others. So you'd go to view here, and then you can create the other bars here. So let me see, structure, rebar, just a quick one. Okay. Okay, I'll do just a quick one. T12, and then I'll change this to fixed number. Where can't I? Oh, okay. So I'll place that there. And then once I go to this section over here, I can now provide the lapping more appropriately. You can use the edit sketch and provide the lapping more appropriately. So you can use this type of detail at this section. I know Engineerland, you have that particular book that talks about this section over here. You can get to share it in the Telegram channel, and then the participants can get to review it, and then we can see how we can apply it in the column detail. But also, I think it's important to note that the columns do not change abruptly. It's always good to have them change. Change. What is this word? Okay, they don't change abruptly. You can't change them by more than 50 mm at a particular point. You'd have to do it, you'd have to introduce that change gradually. All right, Daniel, I can see you have a question.
Yeah, can the same principle be applied whereby you have different cross section or different shape? The cross section is a different shape of the, maybe it's from a circular, then you go to maybe a rectangle, because there are those buildings whereby you will find maybe because the foundations, it was easy to do it as a circular. The column below the substructure, it was maybe easy to do it in a circular manner because of the maybe drilling and such kind of things. Then when you reach, maybe let's say from the ground level going up, they changed the cross section to be a rectangular or a square. Can the same principle be used? Because you will find some bars, you will have to, lack of a better word, crank some bars to be continuous all the way to the top. Can the same principle be used for that, the one that you are showing right now? And also, I've seen in this one the slabs. I'm seeing that it is some millimeters below the I can say what is it called, the structural slab. is some millimeters
Yeah.
below the finished floor level. Can you show us on or provide a recording on how you did that?
Which slab is below the finished floor level?
All of okay. No, you see in that in this drawing that you are using.
Yes.
Not in this one, in the Revit itself, in the Revit drawing that you're demonstrating with.
Yeah.
It seems that the levels he has given, the level is slightly below. The level of the structural slab seems to be slightly below. It seems
No,
like there
I
are
think
two
you're
layers of.
looking.
No, the structural slab is the one that is below. It seems there is, or what am I looking at? Because the FFL is the third floor, then there is some millimeters below where I can see now the structural slab is starting.
That is a beam.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the beam.
It should be.
Okay. Oh, okay, I get it now. I was wondering what's happening there. Okay.
Okay. I think I let one. Hello, Joseph.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
mine is on. Oh, sorry.
Go on, I'll ask like.
Yes, engineer.
Hello.
Yes, mine is on terminating the rebars on top. I see you are not hooking them. Do you use the same procedure as you did on the foundation?
You can use any procedure that that suits you or what you typically do. So you can hook them how you wish, but hooking them would follow the same procedure. You just use the edit sketch and then you provide the hooks in whichever direction that you may wish. How do you hook them? Do you hook them to the outwards or do you provide the hooks inside the column?
Inside the column.
Okay, so you can just edit the sketch here. I'm not quite sure what's sorry. I'm not sure what the dimensions would be, but if you wish to hook them, you can hook them the same way, just the same procedure.
Okay.
Joseph?
Yeah. Okay, so my second question. So I want to understand how bar marks work. Because when I created my section views and when I did the detailing for the plan views also for the footings. So I
Yeah,
noticed that for the multi rebar tags, the bar marks we are starting with, they started with 9, 10, 11. Then when I did the tag by category, the numbering were like, they were not like continuing from. So I want to understand like how does Revit name it automatically or what? I want to get.
yeah. So I want you to think of the bar mark as some sort of a unique identifier in Revit or generally in structural joints. So each bar is given a unique identifier and it is determined by one, the length of the bar, the diameter of the bar, and the nature of the bending details. So any bar that has bars that have similar bar diameters, length, and bending details will typically have the same or should have the same bar mark, right? So if any of those three parameters is different, they are going to be assigned another unique identifier that is normally used in the scheduling bit of, in the scheduling bit. So what Revit does is that every time you create a unique bar, anytime you create a unique bar, it calculates or it counts or it gives it that unique identifier.
Okay. So is there a way to like rename it automatically, like let everything start from 0, 1, then going up?
No, there is no way to do that automatically. And sometimes it might look like it's keeping a few of the bars, but you would need to look also at your hooks and other, just other small rebars so that you can see which bars are probably have taken the numbers that you think are missing or that have been skipped.
Okay. So my final, so it's not a question though. So it's like a comment. So
Yeah,
I noticed I could not ask the question in the last session because my network was having issues. So I
yeah,
noticed that when we modeled the rebars for the combined footing, so we
yeah,
cut two sections along the short span and along the long span. Then the
yes,
main reinforcement was parallel to the short span. So
yes.
I'm just bringing it up for like maybe we can brainstorm or something like that. So the usual thing I know is that for footings, the main reinforcement is usually along the long span. So but we modeled it as a regular slab where the main reinforcement is along the short span. So I don't know if you understand my question or my comment.
Uh, I understand you, but I think that's unique. I've never encountered that. Probably someone else in the class can comment on that. Daniel, have you encountered that? Have you encountered the main bars being along the long span?
No, I've never encountered that. Most of the cases, they usually consider the shorter span because the shorter span usually is where the greatest or the maximum forces are experienced at. So that is mostly where, even in Kenya, that is usually mostly the practice. I've never encountered that.
Yeah, so I think we'd have to look at that. Joseph, we'd have to look at that and then you can provide details to get to see how it varies with what we've done before.
Yeah, okay. You can make some researches about that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I had one question.
Yes.
That is on, let's say, when you want to annotate the regions or the regions that you have added, maybe let's say like you have said on the foundation, you are doing a waterproofing of 2 coats and such. I found it a challenge to add such annotations, which are not basically a 3D or a model. It gave me a bit of a challenge.
Okay. So from my understanding is we do that using the text. So you can go to annotate and just use the text to show where that particular, where that particular element is going to be.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so it's already 11 minutes past 10. Bogani, I can let you ask your question and then we'll close it.
Yes. My issue is I'm having a problem with my Revit families. I don't know if maybe you can assist me by sending maybe the libraries because the one I have it's only US metrics, of which when I'm trying to get the UK, it's a different version. Now it's a little bit complicated from Revit. I don't know if you have the old version. I'm having
which version
trouble.
of which
I'm using
version of Revit are
2026.
you using?
2026.
Okay. So anyone else having challenges with accessing the families? I send them right now.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll share the link.
just to add on Bongani's voice, there are people who don't have UK families. I think let's all of us use this chance to, access these files, especially dealing with the break lines. Some people don't have them. So let's all use this opportunity, click the link, and then we resolve that. Those who don't have the break line, and yeah, that's it. And then last but not least, can see Charity. I think she was on call. You can spare some minutes and we meet after this call and we share some things. You had some difficulties. Can see Charity. I can see you on call. You can reach out, then we discuss some things with you, and then yeah, call it a night. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have access to the Rev at the moment, but let me access the files and I'll share them in the group tomorrow morning. Is that okay, engineer?
Yes, that's okay.
Or Alan, do you have access to them? Do you have access to the link?
No, it's Engineer West, but I'm really sure he has access to that link.
Okay, let me look for them and then share them in the Telegram channel. So once again, thank you for joining tonight. Yes.
Hello, Captain Gatimo.
Hello, dear gracious.
Yes, I have the link. Let me share it in the group.
Super.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
So,
You're welcome.
Hello.
Yes, Daniel, go on. You can hear you.
Okay. I wanted to ask, maybe in the next class, there is this challenge that I faced on site, and it is due to having mostly at the beam column junctions, whereby you found that because of a lot of bars intersecting, there was no spaces for even concrete to enter in. So can that be covered on how to tackle such kind of issues, especially when you are using large diameter reinforcement such as D40, D32 at sections whereby you find that at the beam column junctions, on how to tackle such problems, because that is one of the major challenge that we found, especially with the large diameter bars. In the next class, maybe you can show us on how you guys, when you are designing, how do you tackle that, or how do you design beam and column junctions with such kind of things on mind.
Yeah, the questions, we can actually, yes, we can brainstorm on that. Just remind us during the feedback session on Saturday. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
Friday, rather, Friday. The feedback session on Friday, so not Saturday.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. At least we can discuss more on that and then elaborate on areas where we can improve. So I think other than that, yeah, we have really gone past our time. I think Engineer Gatim, unless you have anything else to add, you can end the meeting.
No, I have nothing else to add. I'll only thank the participants for waiting this long. And thank you for the energy and effort you are putting into this training. it does not go unnoticed, we are really appreciative. So thank you and have a good night.